Okay, so today we are going to be doing the rear brakes on early 74 Triumph TR6. This bad boy right here. Alright. You tell early from 74, from late 74, because in the middle of 74 they switched these front bumpers from having the marker lights above the bumper to below the bumper. So the bumper got higher, the bumper style changed a little bit, but for the most part, you can see how easy this is. So first thing we need to do is get the car jacked up. Then we get the jack stands in. I prefer putting them on the part frame behind the rear axle, because a lot of times I end up having to go underneath the car. It's usually up here. By having jack stands on the frame there, it keeps everything out of the way. So let's set this down, and then we will. Oh, well, let's go. See, just jet to the other side, and we'll continue. Voila. So, well, these aren't exactly the biggest of cars, you know, Miata size, maybe a touch longer. You will notice one thing about the TR6 compared to many British cars that most people know, the smaller varieties. TR6s came from the factory with 15-inch wheels, and the wheels are fairly deep. A lot of negative offset, plus the size. You know, that's why a lot of people who like TR6s like cars with this style wheel. Just, it's nice. All right, let's break out the Ooga Ooga. So we've got out the 1/2-inch Ooga Ooga, and these particular setups use a 22 millimeter. Now these center caps are actually held on with the lug nuts, so you gotta be careful when you come off so you don't drop them. Okay, well, over the years, so a lot of times people may not put them in or they end up missing, but then the drums are held in with 2 flathead screws. Now these have been off once in the last couple weeks, so they turn real easy. I'll do this for both sides and then we'll come back. Alright, so while we're under here, since some people may not normally get to see all of this, over down here, coil spring, alright, and here's your rear control arm. Actually, outer, inner, it just comes back to come back here because it's an independent rear suspension. There is the actual shock absorber. Lever style shock that's connected over this way to the back end of the area. There's our snubber, and here's oh, there it is, for the parking brake. I had this apart before the cotter pin kind of went bad. I like using these pins here, these snap pins, because they break less than regular cotter pins. So there you go. Normally, give a couple whacks with the hammer. I like using a rubber mallet for these older cars, especially since you know, British Leyland. These are original rear drums, I do believe. So you don't want to hit them too hard. Let me pause for a minute. And off it came. Well, so lighting's not so good. There's some brake dust in here. I gotta clean that out. Now, this is why they were apart. This wheel cylinder was leaking, and so I replaced both of them. The only thing is, these brake shoes ended up completely saturated in brake fluid, so they're basically done. So we got new shoes to go in, and this is actually pretty easy to do. So let's let me get my stuffies. So first thing we need to do is knock out these 2 retainers Most newer cars or other vehicles you see with drum brakes use a coil spring and a retainer. And these are just little compression ones. Typically, I need 2 hands to do it. So I use a screwdriver to push it in, and then I use my other hand to twist them, take them out. And here they are. And just real simple. You know, they go in against the back of the bed. Oh, there you go. That's a little bit better. They go in the back, they squish, and your pin comes through the drum's backing plate and twists and locks in. Simple. Next, we're going to, believe it or not, as simple as this, can we get, there it is, there's our adjuster down there, just from the back side. It's a square peg style adjuster. A little bit of manhandle strength, and we just pop these off from the adjuster and let them come together. Hold on. And I was like that. It literally took me about 10 seconds. So, well, if you saw that, now they're together. They're close enough together. This bottom coil pops right out, and then for the top, manhandle it off like that, and comes right off. And this is a little bit more difficult because you have to get it off from around the parking brake, and it's out. And here's the spring. Look how hard that was. All right, now let's go look at the new stuff. So here are the new shoes compared to the old shoes. As you can see, like on this one, positioning is slightly different, but overall the design's the same. All the hookups are the same. So you can see how pretty toasted these old shoes are. That brake fluid soaked into them real bad and really messed everything up. A lot of times people will say, oh, you got to use new hardware all the time. The hardware on this was in good shape, so we're just going to reuse the old springs and retainers, and we'll see how this goes. So we're pretty much opposite from before. We start with this one because you need to get it over the parking brake. You take this spring here, and it slides in and should go. There it goes. I needed 2 hands. Goes into this hole here. Depending on how it goes, I've had times where it slips right in, and I've had times where you've got to slip it through the hole first and then bring it on here. It all depends on how your life is going that day. Most of the times, though, you're probably easier to put it on first and then put this up here. And then we'll get the second bead in. We'll just make sure it gets in here, and then we'll get, with the other hand, we'll get the spring through the second hole. And here it goes. Now, don't let anyone fool you. I mean, it's not hard to do, but you need 2 hands to do it. Look at this, I'm already sweating on everything. It's all right. All right, so next, there it goes. Next, I'll be putting the spring in underneath. Can I do this one-handed? It's been a while. Let's see. You have to do it with them in because the spring, it's hard to see. Let me see, can I get in there? You gotta make sure you get the spring behind stuff. There's that section there. Because if you try to do it when it's in front and bring it back, it's not gonna work. So you gotta have the shoes behind the plate here first. Slide it in, and then I'm not gonna be able to do this holding the phone. All right, well, here's the first one starting to go through. The thing is, when it's like this, it's not hard to do, but it requires 2 hands. You gotta get the hook in here, the other hook through that hole. While you're holding it, you then have to move one of these brake shoes prop into position onto the adjuster. If not, there's so little tension, the spring just falls out. So let's do that. So there it goes. Got the hook in here, the other hook in, and I've got this forward brake shoe onto the adjuster. Now it has enough tension. Now you just gotta put a little back into moving this back one, and it will get onto the adjuster as well. All right, see that? And all I gotta do is put these retainers back in, and we can put the brake drum back on. Yay, I got them in. Not gonna lie, it took me just as much time to put these two in as it took to get everything off, switched over, and put back. Those clips are so stiff. All right, put the brake drum back on and do the other side. Okay, so I'm gonna do this with this side. I'm gonna try to make it kind of real time. See how this goes. So the drum comes off. Screwdriver. Work at this lock. Twisted. That comes off. Pin. Comes off. Pin. Okay. Do the main handle. Get this one first, then this one. The spring comes out. Get this off. Over the top. That's off. Off. Spring. Here's our new front one. We'll get the spring put on first. We'll slide it underneath. Just put on the parking brake pawl. Get it mostly in place. And we'll take our other new one. Now remember, you gotta get this in front of the, it's like 95 degrees out. My brain's there. The adjuster. So while it's in front of the wheel cylinder, we get the hook, the spring hooked on, and then we can, with a little strength, get it onto the wheel cylinder. We get our rear spring, slide it in. And what we'll do is I'm going to hook it to the front one first. Pull them apart a little bit to get hooked on the back one. And then we're going to take our front shoe. Oh, come on. Go on. You can do it. There it goes. Like this. So we'll take our front shoe. Spread them and get it on the adjuster first. And we manhandle the back one onto the adjuster. Bang it up a little bit. That way they're pretty much where they need to be. Pin. Find the hole. Should be right about. Goes, get it through the shoe. You take the retaining clip, compress it, then you use your thumb. Actually, you know what? I know I'll do it. It's a little bit easier. Hold on a minute. I just walk right over here, out of frame, to the little toolbox. I grab me. Pair of pliers. grab the pin, compress my thumb, and add turn. Beautiful. It would have been a lot easier if I did that on the other side. Okay, so find the hole, slide it in. Alright, this isn't quite high enough. It's a bit off. So, push it up a bit. Come on. Alright. What is that? Oh, I see what it is. These wheel cylinders are kind of free floating, so they can slide forward and backwards. So if you may handle a little bit off, you may end up with things not centered correctly. You'll find out when you go to put the brake drum back on, because if nothing's lined up, the brake drum won't go on. Ugh. Okay, there it is. Oops, let me get that a little bit centered. There you go. Brake shoes are in. Now in theory, get the lined up. It's going to be a little tight because they're new, but I adjusted the adjusters all the way in, so oh look, the adjuster is all the way in. So this is what I was talking about. Gotta be careful, make sure everything is lined up right. Okay. There it goes. In place. A couple of white taps. Where'd my screwdriver go? There it is. The only reason why it goes this quick is because these brakes were off only like a week and a half ago. Plus this car has been well maintained, so there was like very little rust and junk that's in here. So there you go. That's how you do the rear brake shoes on Triumph TR6. I'll get the wheel on, get it down, get it cleaned up, take it for a test drive, and if I have to adjust the brakes, I'll adjust the brakes. Thanks for watching. See you next time.